Imagine a land where rolling farms stretch under endless skies, but beneath the beauty, a storm brews. Claims of violence, dispossession, and a world turning a blind eye. In February 2025, Donald Trump thrust South Africa into the spotlight, alleging its government is seizing land from white farmers, leaving them vulnerable to brutal attacks, even murder, while global media buries the story. South Africa is confiscating land and treating certain classes of people very badly, he declared, freezing U.S. aid and offering asylum to those fleeing. Is this a cry for justice, or a spark in a tinderbox of racial and geopolitical tensions? Let's unravel this in 6 steps, exploring Trump's claims, South Africa's reality, and what it means for a divided world. No fluff, just clear insights to guide you through this firestorm. Let's dive in. Chapter 1. Trump's Battle Cry. On February 7, 2025, Trump signed an executive order halting all U.S. aid to South Africa, accusing its government of human rights violations against white farmers, known as Afrikaners. He claimed land is being seized without compensation, and farmers face violent attacks, ignored by a complicit media. It's a bad situation the radical left media doesn't want to mention, he posted on Truth Social, vowing to resettle Afrikaners as refugees in America. His words echoed a 2018 tweet where he raised similar alarms about large-scale killings of farmers, a claim South Africa's leaders called misinformed. The move stunned Pretoria. South Africa, a key U.S. partner, relies on nearly $440 million in annual aid, much of it for HIV/AIDS programs. Trump's order, citing a new land law and South Africa's anti-Israel stance, ignited fury, with voices on social media amplifying his narrative of persecuted farmers. Yet others cried foul, accusing him of stoking racial fears for political gain. The stage was set for a clash that's as much about truth as it is about power. Chapter 2. The Land Question. At the heart of the storm is South Africa's Expropriation Act, signed by President Cyril Ramaphosa in January 2025. It allows the government to seize unused or underutilized land for public interest, sometimes without compensation, to address apartheid's legacy, when black South Africans were stripped of land, leaving whites, 8% of the population, owning over 70% of farmland. Ramaphosa insists it's not confiscation but justice, saying, "We will not be bullied." No seizures have occurred, and compensation remains the norm, yet. Trump calls it blatantly discriminatory. This isn't new. Since 1994, South Africa's constitution has aimed to redistribute land, but progress is slow. Black farmers own just 4% of agricultural land. The law seeks to speed things up, but critics, including some Afrikaner groups, fear it opens the door to abuse. Social media hums with stories of farmers facing uncertainty, while others argue the policy corrects centuries of theft. It's a tightrope, balancing history's wounds with modern fairness, and Trump's stepped right into it. Chapter 3. Farm Attacks. Myth or Menace. Trump's claim of rampant farmer killings taps a raw nerve. South Africa's crime rate is sky high, with over 27,000 murders yearly. Farm attacks, violent robberies targeting rural homes, are real, often brutal. Groups like AgriSA report 49 farmer murders in 2023, a fraction of total homicides, affecting both black and white farmers. Yet Trump and allies like Elon Musk amplify a narrative of white genocide, claiming Afrikaners are singled out, a charge echoed on social media with images of crosses marking fallen farmers. The reality is murkier. Crime stats show no racial targeting. Farms are vulnerable due to isolation, not ethnicity. South Africa's government condemns these attacks, pointing to broader violence plaguing townships and cities. Science suggests fear can magnify perceptions of threat. And here, high-profile cases fuel outrage, even if numbers don't back a genocide claim. Still, for farmers living in remote areas, the fear is visceral, and Trump's spotlight gives their plight a global stage. Chapter 4. The Media Silence Debate. Trump's accusation of media silence stirs fierce debate. On one hand, farm attacks make headlines in South Africa. News 24, ENCA, and others cover them regularly, with vigils and protests widely reported. Globally, outlets like Reuters and the BBC track the land reform saga, debunking exaggerated claims of seizures. Yet Trump's supporters argue mainstream media downplays violence against white farmers, favoring narratives of racial justice over gritty crime stories. Social media posts cry, "The world ignores our dead," pointing to selective outrage. There's truth to both sides. Media often frames farm attacks within South Africa's crime epidemic, not as ethnic cleansing, which frustrates those who feel their stories sidelined. Science shows news thrives on conflict, but complex issues like land reform can drown out personal tragedies. Trump's claim, while overstated, taps this tension. When does coverage cross into silence, and who decides what's news? Chapter 5. Global Fallout. Trump's aid freeze and asylum offer ripple far beyond Pretoria. South Africa's $440 million in U.S. funding supports 17% of its HIV/AIDS program, serving 8 million people. Cutting it risks lives, with clinics already bracing for shortages. Trade hangs in the balance. South Africa's $15 billion in U.S. exports, boosted by the African Growth and Opportunity Act, faces scrutiny as Trump eyes leverage. From citrus groves to car factories, workers fear losses that could tank an already shaky economy. Geopolitically, the move strains ties. South Africa's push against Israel at the International Court of Justice, plus ties with Russia and Iran, irks Trump, who sees Pretoria as a bad actor. Allies like the EU watch warily, fearing a precedent for punishing dissent. Social media reflects global divides. Some cheer Trump's stand, others call it colonial meddling. Science warns sanctions hit hardest at the margins. Here, South Africa's poor may bear the cost of a fight over land and pride. Chapter 6. A Divided Truth. Trump's alarm over South Africa, land seizures, farmer attacks, and media silence casts a stark light on a nation wrestling with its past. His aid freeze and asylum offer amplify fears of white persecution. Yet South Africa's reality defies simple narratives. The Expropriation Act seeks to mend apartheid's scars, not steal farms. And while attacks are real, they're part of a broader crime wave, not a genocide, as data shows. Globally, the fallout threatens lives and trade, with South Africa's defiance clashing against Trump's resolve. The media's role, neither silent nor loud enough, fuels distrust, echoing Romania's election saga where truth battled perception. This clash reveals a deeper divide between justice for history and fairness today, between local struggles and global games. As South Africa navigates its path, the world watches, wondering if dialogue or division will shape what comes next.